Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here. We got an OP strategy video today. Hope you guys like the new format. So let's stockpile some likes for Illumise, or Illumise, however you want to pronounce that. This Pokemon is mean, and when I'm talking mean, we have a Prankster that can pretty much drop your stats to nothing, heal up through it, out tank you, and then become a toxic staller. Just a very strong Pokemon overall. So let's get started, as I generally do, with the base stats. When we're talking about stats here, we have we're trying to get as much hit points, as much defensive stats as possible, because you're not really using any kind of offensive ability. You're just going to be taking that Prankster, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So what you want to do is, I like putting 240 EVs into hit points, mostly because you're able to put a little bit more into defenses and kind of balance out your stats. Now, the problem is with Confide, you're only lowering the special attack by 1, instead of with Charm, you're lowering the attack by 2. So I feel that you would probably need to put just a bit more special defense investment than defense. So then you go 240, 200, and then 68. Now you can also play with these numbers a bit more depending on how you feel it goes. You know, drop that down to 180, maybe boost those up, just whatever you feel your team needs more. You can also just be more of a special defense tank. You can be a little bit more defensive. It's all what you think you can play with. Now, as for the item, there are a couple items that you can choose. I just really like Citrus Berry. Whenever you're trying to get a Pokemon that has a small point of vulnerability, you would like that burst health. You can also use leftovers, but I feel with Citrus Berry, you get 1 Charm, you can get a couple Confide off, and then Citrus Berry will proc, which means you're ready to reset. Let you get enough to where you can lower them and have like a stable Moonlight behind you instead of something else. So really the strategy is what you see. If they're physical Pokemon, you lower their attack. If they're special attack Pokemon, you lower their special attack. And once you get into a safe range, charm them twice, confide them 3 times, try to really drop their stats a lot, we get this toxic going. So as you can see, the only real way of damaging on Illumise is toxic, which means that if it is a steel-type Pokemon, the strategy really isn't going to work, but it is good against anything else that can get toxic. So if we have a Pokemon, you just pretty much go through that rotation. You toxic them, you keep their stats low, and then you heal up through it. And this Pokemon is just pure evil from it. As for other moves, I really don't think you could do much else on Illumise. It's just really what you want to do is kind of set this up, and then you have a couple of options. You can either kind of stick through and just toxic stall them out and wait for them to switch, toxic that Pokemon, weaken them or whatever, or you can always use this Pokemon as a good way to create a safe switch-in. You open this Pokemon, you set up the Charm, you set up a toxic, you do all sorts of things like that, and then now you're able to switch into any Pokemon you want, and they're either going to be forced to switch out, which gives your next Pokemon, like the Pokemon you're switching into, just free damage, which is always nice, or they just kind of sit in and they just don't do anything back to you. So, while not being the most strongest Pokemon, while not being the most incredibly useful, this Pokemon's still pretty OP when you can just take a Pokemon that no one's really ever used or tried to use before and really just cripple some of the strongest Pokemon in the game. So that's Illumise for me. Like, you can't really do too much with them, but this little cheese strategy is more than enough to get very far in the game and just secure a lot of strong KOs. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just bring in some very unpredictable picks right now, and I hope you all have a nice day.